When and why do you hedge? Hi, it's Charlie giving you your Tuesday/Wednesday video. Hope you're very well. And so, hedging is a technique that you, to start off with, you don't have to use. It's not something you have to do. But I'm just going to give you a couple of concepts that I use with hedging. This is just a couple. I use hedging for various things, but here's just a couple of examples. So, first of all, the when, and then secondly, the why. Okay, so let's bring up the pen first of all and talk about the when. So when would I actually hedge? I would hedge. Let's say I've got into a short trade, the perfect short trade. So let's say I got into it about here, somewhere in this zone, around about here. So I've got short here. My stop loss, for argument's sake, we'll just say is here, and then prices got down into this zone down here, down into here. And for argument's sake, I've got a target which is still further down. So my target is still a little bit further. We'll come to that in a minute. I'll scroll forward the page. So let's say my target is further down. But by the time I get down to here, I'm already up, a comfortable, 2R, maybe 2 to 3R by that stage. Maybe it's more, depends on the trade. But what I'm trying to say is that you're already up a good amount of profit at that point in this zone where I'm starting to consider hedging. And the main point is that by the time we come down to this zone, I'm sort of 70%, let's say, around about that, let's say 70, maybe 80% towards the overall target. So I've got an overall target. I'm not using a trailing stop method of exiting. I'm using a target-based approach. And so I've already done a good chunk of the target. So, and then for argument's sake, there's some buy signals coming in, and I'm 70% or so towards that overall target, and so you're thinking, right, okay, I really want to hold on to my larger position because I still believe in the overall target. But there's more than enough evidence down here could be into a support zone, could be diverging, and so or both, preferably. And so actually, I'm going to put a hedge on. Now the hedge might be 50% of my entire short. Okay, so it might not be the exact same size as the entire short. It might be 50%. Maybe half of it. I always say with hedging, treat it as like an insurance policy. It's not necessarily, the hedge itself is not about trying to make money. It's a bit of an insurance policy of your overall trade. Okay, so you don't have to do a hedge with exactly the same position size. Some hedges also, see, I'd end up doing a really long video if I did everything. But some hedges you put a stop loss on. Other hedges, you don't need to put a stop on at all. Depends on the size and what you're doing, whether it's 100% or 50% or only a quarter size. But anyway, I'm digressing. So you decide to, or I decide to I'm 70% towards my target, and there are buy signals. There are long signals coming in, or signals that are coming in, which are suggesting there could be a turn in the market. So what I'm then looking to do is to have this hedge in. And either I am going to cash out at some point and be aggressive, because that would be aggressive, or all I'm going to do is once prices come up enough, I'm just going to move my stop loss on the hedge to break even, wherever that break even point. So let's say that break even point is here. And then if it carries on going higher, then what I've at least salvaged is I have made money on the hedge, even if I end up getting stopped out at, let's say, break even or whatever the level might be on the original short. So if I take the pen off here, if I now just bring this chart forwards, we can see that ultimately it does get down to my ultimate target. Okay, so it gets down to my target. So what's happened with the hedge? I've used the hedge as that insurance policy just in case it carries on going higher, and then at least I still make some money, some half decent money out of the trade as a whole. But otherwise, what all that's happened is it's rolled back over, stopped me out of the hedge, and then means that my original short position is still obviously in play, and I get down to my ultimate target down here. So that's one example of how you could use a hedge. But the next bit of this, and the technicals of all the different things that you can do with once you've put a hedge in, the size of the hedge, whether to bank a profit on the hedge. That's, like I've already said, it is more aggressive because you could bank a profit here, then it carries on going up, and you haven't made the money to compensate the stop out, the ultimate stop out on the short. So really, you can do that, but you have to be aware that you might, if you try and get too clever, you might come unstuck a little bit and not make as much money. Now, as far as the why, now people will say, well, why would you bother hedging? And this is a really good question. Why would you even bother? So you've come down to here, you've got an ultimate target down here. Why not just hold for the ultimate target? Or if you've got buy signals coming in, and you think, oh, we're into a really good level of support, which could produce a decent bounce, which could turn into something more, and then price carries on going higher, why don't you just cash out down here? And then if it does retrace, like a lot of people would say, then sell again. So that's another option. So why not just close out, cash out down here, and on the next, if you think it's going to turn, on the next retracement, then sell. And if you're right overall on it, then you'll make money here. Absolutely 100%. That is a great idea. Now, so why do I do it? The reason I do it is because I trade in the real world. And what we're talking about is all hypothetical. It's easy when you're just looking at a chart and you're just going through these examples. The reality, the stone cold reality of being in trades is, as many of you know, is very different. So it's easy to say, right, I'm going to cash out here and then I'm going to add in if it comes up or whatever. But what happens if it doesn't retrace further up? The point of the hedge is it keeps me engaged. That's what I use it for. Yes, it's an insurance policy if I've got 70-80% towards my overall target, but rather than cashing out and then waiting for the retracement and getting back in, the hedge keeps me engaged. If it carries on coming down, by the way, and it just came straight down to the target there, because I've only hedged 50% of my position, I'm still net going to be making more money as price comes down towards that ultimate target. So if that happens, that's still fine. But it keeps me engaged. And what I mean by that is that quite often you can have the best of intentions. You've exited this trade and you're like, yes, I'm gonna sell it on the next retracement. Then as it retraces up, you see another level, a level that you quite like, and it never gets to that level, and then it rolls all the way over. And so that's why I quite like a hedge, because it keeps me engaged in the trade as a whole. That it keeps me committed to the trade, rather than once I've disengaged and I've taken that profit, I might end up looking at other markets or whatever and not come back to this one, or like I've already said, be waiting for a higher level and it doesn't quite get there. Anyway, whatever, you've ended up missing out on what was your original piece of analysis, which is for price to come down to this level. And I like to be able to take a trade and run it based on my analysis. And so hedging at certain times, I wouldn't hedge right up here. I only hedge once I'm into a decent level of profit, and then we get buy signals. Now, you might say, well, what if we get loads of buy signals up here? Well, I'll just leave it. It's not enough profit to even warrant paying the insurance premium. It's a bit like insuring a car which is valued at £1,000, but the cost of the insurance is £1,000. It's not really a good deal, is it? So, and that's where hedging only comes into play once price has moved a significant distance in your favor, where you're getting closer to your profit target, but you don't really want to take it all out here and cash out. Now, some people will say, well, what about cashing out half here and then adding back in again? Again, it's not that's an absolutely fine way to trade. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just putting forward to you hedging as a technique And hedging also can actually get a lot. And I'm only giving you one. I mean, nearly 10 minutes in already. One example here, but hedging can be quite. You can use it in many ways, and of course, if price then starts to build to the upside, then if you've cashed out half, all you end up doing is taking maybe, and you get stopped out on the other half, but you didn't put you in the position, or maybe you've entered another trade on the other part of the position, and then you get stopped out on that. But hedging, there's a lot to it, but for me, the main reason is you've got to sort of three-quarters of your position, three-quarters of the way to your profit target, and then plenty of, in this example, buy signals have come in, and you don't want to sacrifice giving it all back by this stage. You've had a good run, and there are good enough buy signals to warrant doing something. Like I've said, you could cash out half, you could cash out and then look to add in, and then go back in again. But for me, the hedge keeps me in the game, keeps me committed to the trade, and if it comes all the way up, remember, if you're already in a hedge, and I've done this as well, and I'm going to get technical into another level, well, it could be that it comes all the way up, and actually there's something else going on in the charts, and you hold on to the hedge, and it carries on going higher. I've done that before as well. So you end up in a completely reversed trade with from a really good position. So that can happen as well. It is complicated, and you can make it really complicated, but I'm just telling you, giving you reasons why and when you might want to hedge. Hopefully that's of use. Slightly longer video there today, and I'll be back at the end of the week for the next video. Take care for now. Give us a thumbs up as always, and do like the videos. Oh yeah, that is a thumbs up. And do subscribe to the videos as well, so that you get the notifications when the next videos are released. Take care for now.